So, what are some signs or symptoms that women should never ignore about their health?
One of the main things that's different from what most people talk about is, yeah, you can have the pain, the chest pain, but most women have nausea. So
Mm.
they have like an upset stomach. They think that maybe they ate something bad or congestion, heartburn. All of those are GI symptoms that usually precede a heart attack.
Greetings and welcome to the Elevated Flo Podcast. I am your host, Coach Flo, aka the Black Rowing Queen. The Elevated Flo Podcast spotlights elite and everyday female athletes over 40, sharing how they elevate their game and their flow in sports, wellness, and life. These are powerful stories of strength, resilience, wisdom, and inspiration to help women stay active, age strong, and pass the torch to the next generation. Today, I have a very special guest with me. Please help me welcome Miss Tina Riley. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Okay. And how are you today?
Girl, I'm great. I woke up this morning. I'm great.
Amen. Amen. I know that this is going to be a powerful, emotional, just exciting episode. So let's get right into it. I'm going to give you a formal introduction. Miss Tina Riley is a Chicago native whose life reflects both intellectual versatility and extraordinary resilience. Over the course of her career, Tina has worn many professional hats, including dietitian, investment analyst, paralegal, human resources manager, and most recently, hospice nurse. Each role grounded in service, precision, and care for others. At age 47, despite working with a personal trainer multiple times a week, Tina began experiencing unexplained physical decline. What started as difficulty climbing stairs progressed into shortness of breath, a persistent cough, and nausea. While completing a travel nursing assignment, Tina traveled to Dallas for what was meant to be a brief break, only to arrive in full heart failure. Her journey forward was anything but simple. Tina underwent a triple bypass and mitral valve replacement, which ultimately failed. 2 months later, she received the ultimate gift, a new heart. Today, Tina's story is a powerful testament to listening to your body, advocating for your health, and redefining strength after life-altering adversity. Please help me welcome Miss Tina Riley. My father keeps saying
Girl.
I need to have the hand clap. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it. Round of applause. Round of applause. Wow. So
Okay.
let's get right into it. Like I said, I know this is gonna be a powerful conversation. Aside from you being funny as all get out.
And don't make me cry. I'm just saying you
You
now.
know what?
Don't make
I
me
feel
cry.
like, you know what, we're gonna run the gamut of emotions because your story is so powerful. And I'm just gonna start with where we met. So we met last week, as a matter of fact, with
Mhm.
at a Black Women Who event. It
Yeah.
was our holiday get together, and we sat next to each other and had dinner, and we got to talking, and I was just like, oh my God, you have to be a guest on my podcast. Like, seriously, her story is so powerful. I've been talking about you since I met you. You and this other lady that I'm going to interview next week. But anyway, let's get right into it. So you have built an incredible, diverse career. Dietitian, investment analyst, paralegal, HR manager, and now a hospice nurse. And that's what we really talked about at the dinner the other day, you being a hospice nurse. So aside from that, those career endeavors being service to others, what connects all of those roles for you?
Well, my family always calls me the Leo DiCaprio, catch me if you can,
Mm.
because I've done some of everything. And when I became a nurse, people was like, how you gonna fake that? Because you got to go to school for that and it got to be real. And I was like, well, I guess I have to go to school now.
Mm.
So I went to school and became a nurse. And I think I've always been a nurse.
Mm.
I think that this is something that the other careers prepared me for,
Mm.
be a nurse. As dietitian, I love nutrition. Like I love the fact that you could change your body just with what you put in it. So that was one of my great, things. An investment analyst, I never want to be poor. Like, I don't like poverty. So all these careers created me, you know.
Okay.
Human resources, I love people. I love helping them. And I realize human resources don't really help the people, they help the corporation. So I got out of that. And now I am servicing what I thought was the most important, which is a hospice nurse, because when I was 8, they told me I wouldn't make it to 20. I am now 50. So I appreciated that part of it. I appreciate that it taught me to live,
Mm.
even though doctors always told me I wouldn't. So I live.
How did that affect your life and how you lived, knowing that people were expecting you not to live past 20?
I think it made me fearless
Mm.
because the stuff I did in my teenage years, I shouldn't be here. Like, I was already preparing for the end.
Wow.
So I lived a great life, and my teenage years showed it. Like, when I bought a house, by the time I was 30, my lawyer was like, "You gotta write down all your addresses," you know? I had 3 pages of addresses. So, yeah, I've lived. I've I've traveled. I've been to so many countries I don't even remember.
Wow.
I remember I was in, Dominican Republic, and I was telling a tour guide, I was like, "Why do I know this whole story? Everything you telling me, I know you're gonna take us to this lady named Maria." I remember all of this. I had been there 2 years before doing the same tour and forgot.
Oh, what?
Girl, I'm telling you, I've just when they told me at 8 that I wouldn't make it to 20, I made sure that I put from 8 to 20 a bunch of stuff in there.
Wow. You know,
'Cause I remember they said that dot your birthday and your death, the dash.
right, right, right.
Feel my dash. I feel my dash.
That is amazing because I know just in talking about like motivating people and, motivational people say sometimes talking about that dash, like, what are you going to do? What are you going to make of your life in that time? And to kind of live like it's your last day. So to like
Yes.
experience that from 8 to 20 really,
Yeah.
really it can scare a lot of people. And speaking of which, do you feel like your parents protected you or they were like trying to keep you I mean,
I don't mean to laugh.
huh?
I don't mean to laugh. I say I don't mean to laugh.
Okay.
No, no, I don't know if I curse. No, not shit, but on my parents. My mother was like, "Do you?" I got 5 kids. You do you. And my daddy was like, "Ah, just stay protected." Like, "Be careful." That's all he would say. Every time he'd hear I'm doing something, he'd be scared and telling me to be careful.
Mm.
So, I think they were telling me the wrong things. I shouldn't have been careful, and I didn't. Like, fear didn't let me be careful. So, my parents they were thinking of other things.
Mm.
They was thinking of my afterlife, be a
Really?
good person, all that kinda stuff. It's nice, but I think for me, being taking care of me was more important than taking care of others at that time.
So let's go back to when you were younger. When did you start playing sports?
I was on track for a while, but I guess you're gonna have to know it all. I quit school. So I remember my mother at 8th grade would always be like, just give me a diploma, give me and then you could do whatever you want. And so when I graduated from grade school, I figured here's your diploma. I made it to 8th grade.
Girl, are you
So and she
serious?
was like, "No, you gotta do more, you gotta do more."
She said
So I
eighth
was like,
grade.
"Fine." And I went to high school. I went to 4 different high schools before I figured out I don't really like high school. So I dropped out and, I went to an alternative school because it the girls that were pregnant would normally get to go to the alternative school. So I was the only one that wasn't. So my mom made sure I got into the school because they were like, "She missed more than I think you have to miss more than 3 months of school or something like that to get into the alternative school." And my mom was like, "She did, but should she have a baby just to get into your school?" So she fought for me to get in that school, and, I went to alternative school, and I graduated, at 15 actually, but I couldn't get my diploma until I turned 16. So I started going to become a paralegal. So I went to school to be a paralegal.
So what
So
was
I
your
was about
relationship with like with your siblings, what is your birth order?
I am the middle child. So I got an
Interesting.
older sister. Yeah, and I just listened to a podcast about how being a middle child is horrible. And I was like, it wasn't that bad. I enjoyed it. But I have an older sister, I have an older brother, and I have two little sisters. So I am a perfect like middle child.
Okay.
I have a my brother is the only boy, so that makes a whole dynamic.
Mhm.
And the only boy and the oldest. I love my siblings. I mean, we are so tight that we went to counseling one time because we were just too close. Because
Really?
other relationships, we was like, okay, we can do that, but my siblings come first.
That's
So we were
awesome.
very close.
Okay, so they weren't were they do you feel like or did your parents kind of prepare them for your passing
No,
or
we ignored it. We ignored
really?
it. My mother was like, "They lying. My
Okay,
little
good,
girl
good.
do everything." So she did not listen to them at all.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Wow.
She would take me to the doctor, and the thing is, I would have to have surgery to figure out what was actually wrong with my heart. And my mother was like, "She's too young, one thing for surgery." And one thing I told her I would never do it. Like, if you try to take me to the doctor, I'm running away. Go ahead and do what you need to do, but I am not going to a doctor. So they want to do surgery to see what was wrong with my heart, and I just refused. So my whole life, I would just make sure I had a cardiologist on board. I never really had any huge problems. The only problem I had was my heart rate was always high, even as a young
Mm.
high heart rate,
So
and
what
my
was your
blood pressure was.
diagnosis being that you wouldn't have what were they trying to do surgery for?
They were trying to do surgery to find out what's wrong with me.
Okay.
So as a kid, I didn't know what these were, but it looks like some type of angiograph they were trying to do,
Mhm.
and my mother was just like, I never really investigated what really happened when I was younger. I would ask my mother, and she'd be like, "I don't remember. I just remember I'm not taking you. I wouldn't let you have surgery." So I don't know what the surgery was.
Wow. Okay.
If you're listening right now and you're thinking, Coach Flo, I know I need to get moving, but I don't know where to start. Or you've been moving, but you feel stuck. Maybe you hit a plateau. This message is for you. I created a 21-day Get Active, Stay Active challenge just for women like you. It's simple, it doesn't take much time, and it's doable even if you can only work out at home. This challenge is designed not only to help you build strength and momentum, it's designed to build confidence and consistency without feeling overwhelmed. Every day, you'll get clear guidance and small, powerful steps that add up to big results. By the end of the 21 days, you'll not only feel stronger, you'll know exactly how to keep going. So if you're ready to take that step, join me. Click the link in the description to join the challenge. Your future self will thank you for it. Now let's get back to the episode.
Okay. So how has working in healthcare? You say you've been a hospice nurse for 20 years? Well, you didn't say it, but you told me you've been a
Yeah,
hospice nurse.
I can't believe I've been doing. Well, actually, I started out in surgical ICU,
Okay.
and then I did step down, and then I did emergency room, and then I would always do like a PRN hospice stuff. And I just didn't want it to be my career. I just wanted to be. I wanted to know about it, but I didn't want it to be my career. So it didn't become my career until about maybe 12 years ago, maybe 15.
So what about it made you stay?
They kept kicking me out of the emergency room. Like, I work in there, and they'd be like, "No, Tina, go on." Because I'd be like, "Y'all not doing this to this 80-year-old man." Like, "No, he 90. Like, why is we doing all this? Like, these people need to be retiring, not in the hospital or dying in the hospital." So I was an advocate for not letting people die with tubes and all that. I wanted people to die peacefully at home, not in the hospital with people that they never met before.
Mm.
And nobody take care of your people like you do. So I wanted them to be at home. So every time I got an emergency room job, they would be like, "Man, just go to hospice. That's what you really need to be."
Mm.
So that's how the events came about.
Wow. And how has that experience been for you?
Being on hospice and then being a hospice
Well,
nurse.
you didn't even get to that part yet. You did say
Oh, my bad.
before. No, you did. You told me that you were the only hospice nurse that you know in 20 years that has been on hospice before. So talk about that. why were you on hospice? And then,
Well,
yeah.
I don't know. I do know. But first they said that when I was in Dallas just for a week and when I got to the hospital, no, I was on a plane. I was coming down to Dallas from Indianapolis and my feet swelled up. I didn't even recognize them. I'm like, whose feet is this? They were huge. And I was like, because as a nurse, I'm like, I'm in heart failure. Like, there's no other way that your feet would get that big, you know. And I couldn't walk hardly. I couldn't walk to the tarmac. Like I was in bad shape. And I was like, oh my God, heart failure. So I said, you know what? And I called my boyfriend at the time and I was like, come get me. I'm going straight to the hospital. Like, I already know they're gonna give me Lasix. They gon' everything gonna go down. Then, I'll don't be at home. I went to the hospital. They was like, "No, sweetheart, we keeping you." And he was like, "Yeah, we gonna give you Lasix. Yeah, that's part of the thing, but we keeping you." And my blood pressure was not even high. And
Mm.
usually my blood pressure wasn't because, at this point I'm making sure it's not high. And my blood pressure was good. I'm still talking. I walked to the emergency room, walked to the car and everything. And they said that my lungs were filled up completely. I had pneumonia, full pneumonia. My ejection fracture, this is what they measure it. It should be between 50 and 60. It was at less than 10.
Wow.
And I never had a heart attack. Never had any of these. Nothing. Just and then they kept me and they said we have to do a triple bypass because all your stuff is blocked. Even the Widowmaker. It's all blocked. We had 90% on like 3 different major arteries.
How were you
So I was
walking
like,
around?
girl, that's what they kept asking me. They was like, and you flew here? They was looking at me like I was an alien. I was like, yeah, I'm fine. Like, I thought I was gonna get some Lasix and go home. It was like, no, sweetheart. They was like, no chest pain. I was like, nah, I feel fine. I was coughing, but not like, and girl, my lungs was filled. They were showing me pictures. And I was like, oh, my lungs? So before I can get the triple bypass, they had to get the fluid off me. So they were gonna do the thing where they put the needle in your lungs or in your abdominal cavity. So before my surgery, they didn't do it because they said, "Oh, all the fluid is gone." What? They said most of this fluid is gone. I was like, "Yeah," and yeah, so most of the fluid was gone.
So
So
how
I
did that
was
happen?
they gave me Lasix in my body, and I peed forever. They
Okay.
put me in a Foley. Girl, them bags was full. And I knew that I had to, get the fluid off. So I did my own, like, and I always tell people, like, cup your hand and do this to get all the fluid out. So I was having my family do it. We was doing my chest, my back. I was like,
What?
I don't want that needle. So, we was doing the cupping to make sure that, everything was clear. And I kept moving. Like I kept walking. Because I used to be a hiker. I would hike all the time. So I was like, y'all, we walking all this fluid off.
Wow.
And so I would get all my stuff, my IV bags and everything. And we walk them halls. I said, I don't want no needle. I forget what they call it, paracentesis. So before they did it, the day before I was scheduled for that, they were like, oh yeah. They had me prepped on the table and everything. And I yeah. And they was like, "Oh, we don't have to do it." I was like, "Yeah, I bet you don't."
Wow.
Yeah.
Cupping.
Yeah. I call it cupping, yeah. And you do it with your hands and you do it for babies,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You can do it for adults. And yeah, I made my family cup me. And then so I got the triple bypass and the mitral valve replacement and I was ticking after that cuz it was metal and I would hit it ticking. It drove me crazy.
Mm.
Then I had to wear this vest. That vest was heavy, and I ain't want none of this, and it didn't work. Like, I was good for, like, a month, and, I was going to the gym. I was walking on a treadmill with my bag because they still had me on a drip to keep my heart because they couldn't titrate me off because my heart still wasn't good. My EF was still low. So, I got that in May, and I got my heart in August because
So you just
triple
be passing
bypass.
over. She was like, "Yeah, I got
Oh,
that in
so
May, and then I got my heart."
so first I got my heart. Got my no,
Back
triple
up.
bypass.
You can't
Triple
just skip
bypass
till
in
you got
May.
a heart. You said it like you.
Okay, triple bypass in May.
Right.
Then in July, they put me on Impella. And if anybody knows what an Impella is, it's like a ventilator
Okay.
for the heart. So it's like being tubed
Because
for
the
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 heart. And it
mitral
just
valve replacement didn't work.
didn't work.
Okay.
So I got this huge scar from
Uh-huh.
the Impella. That's the worst. The Impella was worse than the heart transplant. So this Impella was in there and it started malfunctioning.
Mhm.
And it started clotting and it was just bad. And so I got 2 strokes after that. So from July to my heart transplant, I had 2 strokes. And this hand still don't work. I could do this, but I don't feel nothing.
What?
Um, girl, this hand, I still gotta go to neuro. So had 2 strokes, the Impella, and that's when I was on hospice because the Impella was failing. I didn't get a new heart yet, and you can't go home in an Impella. Impella means you either get a new heart or you get a pine box. That's the only 2 options
Wow.
for after Impella. Yeah,
So
so the
how long
Impella
were
was
you in the
failing
hospital with the Impella?
after, the 4th of July because they wanted me to go in at the 4th of July. I'm like, "No, Imma have one more
What
party
about
before
hoorah?
one more before I go in." So I
Girl,
went in
you
on,
are
like,
too
the
much.
6th. I went in, like, the 6th, and then they put the Impella in, like, the 7th or 8th or something. Then, so from July to August, I was in the Impella. No, t to the end of July because I got my
So
heart after
because that was failing you, I told you can't
Yes.
just skip over parts.
Yes, so the Impella and then the strokes, and they were like and they tried to switch my Impella out. 'Cause they were like, "She's dying, like, we gotta switch her Impella out." And so, it was a nurse, I always try to forget her name. Me and my sisters, we was like, "One day Imma just go up there and I'm just," 'cause she saved my life because I was literally gone. And she told the doctor, "Instead of switching out the Impella, why don't we give her," the stuff they give when you having a stroke? Why am I forgetting words? Since my stroke, I forget words. It's like what you give somebody for a stroke. It starts with a T. I just can't remember the name. And so they were like, she was like, just give her that. Give her boluses of that every 5 minutes until, we don't have to switch out the Impella and she can use this. And they were like, no. So they started dressing me up to take me to surgery to switch out my Impella. And I'm already like this. Like, what y'all doing? And she was like, no, no. And she told them, she stopped them. She was like, we trying this. It's not TPS, thrombo something.
Was it
We
a
trying
black
this.
nurse?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And what is her name? I'ma find her name. And she was like, "No, let's do this. Let's please." And she told them. She kept telling them. And then so she told my brother because my brother did not leave my side. My brother was in Chicago and literally moved to Dallas because he was like, "No." And so he was my advocate for a lot of stuff. And he was like, "No, we gonna listen to her. Whoever she is, we listening to her." And sure enough, she did that every 5 minutes, and the Impella started working again. So I didn't have to do that. And so I was still walking. 2 days before my actual heart transplant, I couldn't walk no more.
Mm.
I can't walk. And I told my family, I was like, this it. I said, call everybody and let them know that they want to talk to me, put it on speaker because I couldn't really talk a lot. And at this point, I stopped eating.
Mm.
Just all the signs of a hospice person. They don't eat. They can barely talk. All their energy is for, you know,
Breathing and
the
trying to survive.
breathing and start trying to survive. So I stopped talking, stopped eating. I couldn't walk no more. And I just waited to die.
Wow.
Yeah. And so they were asking me, do you want the chaplain? No, I don't need any of that. Do you have any religious? No, spiritual health is through my family. Basically, just stayed in the hospital. And then I woke up and I was like, man, heaven looked just like the hospital. I said, I guess that makes sense. Yeah. So I thought I was in purgatory, whatever you want to call it. I was like, good deal. I made it up there because there was a lot of lights. And I know down there ain't a lot of lights. So I was like, yeah, okay. Then I woke up. I was like, no, I think back in the hospital still. I think I'm still alive. Yeah, I think I'm still
So
here.
this is when you actually got the heart transplant and you didn't
Huh?
even know.
I had no idea because I thought I was already gone, you know. because I don't remember anything. Like, I don't remember them wheeling me down. I do remember, well, see, that's the thing. I just had 2 other surgeries.
Mm.
So my brain didn't realize if this was a triple bypass surgery, if this was the impella surgery. Like, my brain was just like, whatever it is, they're going to take care of you. So don't worry about it. And I was telling people all the time, they were like, you was a nurse. So did you advocate for all this stuff? And I thought about it. I was like, no, I'm a hospice nurse. Like, I don't want a hospice nurse. I want a, I want a cardiologist. You know what I'm saying? I want a cardiac nurse. Like, no. So I let the cardiac nurses do what they do best. You know, I'm not a cardiac nurse. So I listen to what they said. You know, I didn't try to research and figure out, no, I'm not even there yet, you know? And then when I had that stroke, I couldn't really talk.
Mm.
So I couldn't talk anymore hardly. And I just felt weird, you know, and that you don't know what's the weird part. Is it the heart thing or the strokes or what? So I just didn't feel myself. I didn't feel like I was an advocate for me
Hmm.
anymore. So I just left it to the
Well, that's good that your brother came down to advocate for you and that you had that
he
nurse.
yes, yes,
Thank God
yes.
for that nurse, because I've heard so many stories of us not
She
being
fought.
believed and just
Yes. And then the thing is,
experimenting on
because she
us.
was Black, when she was explaining to them, they were like, they was ignoring her, just totally ignoring her. If it wasn't for my brother telling them to listen to her, you know what I mean? Because she was being ignored,
Mm,
completely ignored. They were like, she's Black, she don't know, you know. But yeah, they totally ignored her.
that's unfortunate, but thank God that she was there and they,
Right.
like
And
it's
she didn't stop. That's what the thing is. She
right,
did
right,
not stop.
right.
Even when they ignored her, she did not stop.
Thank God for that. Woo! Oh my goodness. So you woke up in the hospital thinking you were in
Alive.
heaven.
Yeah, I woke up alive.
Alive, you woke up.
Yeah.
So how long
Because
were
I
you
knew that something was wrong. Because go ahead.
how long were you in the hospital after that? And then how did you proceed with life? I mean, because you said you couldn't talk, you could barely talk. I'm sure you had to learn how
Speech
to,
therapy.
yeah.
Yep, speech therapy. And I cried a lot after, but, I just don't know how I give me the question again.
How did you proceed? How long were you in the hospital after you
Oh,
had
how
your
long?
heart transplant?
I didn't get out till September. So August, end of September,
To
they let me go.
February.
Yeah,
So while you were in the hospital, you were going through therapy to learn how to walk and talk and
yeah. The walking wasn't that bad though, to
oh,
be
so
honest with
you could walk.
you. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. The only problem I had was the speech and this hand.
Mm.
This actual this hand. Because I called it my Ike. Because when I was in the
Yeah,
hospital
Ike?
no, this was during the impella. Yeah. When I was in the hospital getting my impella, this hand would literally smack the crap out of me. Like, it'd just be beating me up. And I tell my nurse, no, my nurse, my
Not your
doctor, I'll be
Ike.
like, Ike was at it again. I kicked my butt. I said, because I'd be waking up and I'd be like, literally, because this hand, I could not control nothing. That stroke, girl. And people be like, what did you have after the stroke? I was like, my hand attacked me. Yes. I'm not even joking. They had to put it in a muff. We called it muffs, and they had to strap this arm down
Really?
because it would start pulling at stuff. You know, it was bad. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, they had to strap me down. Yeah,
Interesting.
they had to strap this arm down because it was beating the crap out of me. And just me. It wasn't messing with nobody else.
She said,
Like, it
my
was people
Ike.
around me, but I was kicking Tina's ass.
Oh,
Like,
wow.
I was like,
That is
what?
so interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Have you
So
heard of that
I was in
since? Like with anyone else that happening as a result of a stroke?
yeah,
Really?
I've read a lot about strokes. What the thing is about strokes, it's affecting the brain.
Right.
And the brain does so much stuff that I've learned that even with the stroke, a lot of people, unless it's outwardly shown, they don't realize the struggle people have internally.
Right, right, right.
So a lot of things was affecting me, but I wasn't really sure what it was. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
You really have to do that body thing, the body scan, to really realize all the effects that a stroke does.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Because it's the brain, it's the power of everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and also it connects it to the spinal cord. So it's a lot that comes with the stroke. So I learned a lot about being a patient and a nurse. That just because you don't see their struggle,
Right,
it's real.
right.
It's real.
I think that is the biggest problem with people that have mental health issues. It's
Yes.
like they could
Even
look
diabetes.
normal
Yes.
and
And heart stuff. Like all of these things are there's nothing on your face.
right,
There's no scar. There's there's nothing to show that your blood sugar is up, your heart rate is up,
right,
your blood pressure is up. These are silent killers.
right,
And it's so many things. So many things. But you're right, the mental is probably the worst.
right. Yeah. So let's go back. You were talking about, I read in your bio that you worked out with a trainer several times a week, and this was prior to you having
I've
your
always had a trainer.
how was your fitness journey prior to, and then what has changed since?
Prior to, I hiked, had a personal trainer at least 3 times a week. This one lady made me go every day, but we won't talk about her. But I was really active,
Mhm.
like very active. And then after the heart transplant, I have one thing that I've never had before. Never, and I'm still struggling with it today. Fear.
Mm.
Was finally scared. I was scared that I would pass out at a gym. I was scared that I would hike too far and not get it, not to get to civilization. Like I still have fear.
Interesting.
Like I hike now. Like my first trip after my transplant was I went to Sedona hiking. My family did not agree. My doctors did not agree, but it ain't them. It's me.
Right.
And I knew I was scared. I knew I was scared to go hiking again. So I went hiking and I got a guide.
Mm.
I never did guides. So now when I hike, I have a guide.
Okay.
And it's costs extra, but it's worth it. So my guide showed me everything that we were doing in Sedona. And the first day I didn't have a guide, I was in a hiking group. And I don't know, I was scared. I didn't finish the thing. I told them that what did I tell them? I think I told them I had to pee or something. I don't know, but I lied. And I said, I think this is too much. But it was fear. I
Really?
did that hike. I've hiked thousands of times. The only thing that's different is me. My legs the same. My legs strong as hell. Like I'm strong.
What do you think the fear is? I mean, in a group, before you said, yeah, you know, you thought that you might not get back to civilization or whatever. But
It
when you're
was
with a group, what do you think the
this
fear was?
hiking group was talking about. They were talking about all the times somebody fell, and one of the girls had just hurt their ankle, but she came anyway limping, and she said, "Oh, I feel right here." Like, and she said, and EMS had to come, and they was my friends, and I'm like, and I'm in Texas. I was like, I think I'm gonna go home. I don't think I'm ready for y'all.
Oh, so you didn't even do the hike. I thought you were on the hike
I
and then
did
you went.
half.
Oh, so did
I
you
was
have
half.
somebody go
I was
back with
halfway
you?
there. The lady who hurt her leg, when she said she hurt her leg, oh, that's the lie I told. I was like, yeah, I think my ankle. I don't know what I said. When she turned around, yeah, I was right behind her. I was like, yeah, we turning around. Cause she came with a twisted ankle. I was like, and then the lady who was she was a PT. She was a physical therapist. And she started telling the girl that she probably shouldn't walk on it and stuff. Then she going in her story about a couple of months ago when she fell and the EMS had to take. I was like, there's too much stuff going on. I'm just leave when she leaves. I'm up.
Okay.
I was like, yeah, I'm not doing that. So yeah, I did half of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what
And
else
now I'm not
is
hiking a coach.
included in your fitness journey? Like, do you lift weights? Do you have a fear of
I do
like hurting yourself based on your heart or
everything. I'm also 50, so I'd be like, I don't know. My fear is unfounded. So I could make excuses about whatever. But when you go through 3 surgeries in 3 months or 4 months, that's trauma.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's my first real trauma. I don't have no kids, so I never go to the hospital, the doctor, you know what I mean? And that's what I used to tell people all the time. They'd be like, why you don't have kids? I'll be like, because that's a hospital stay. That don't make sense. Like, that don't sound natural. Like, if I have to go in the hospital, yeah, you can keep that. And then all my life, they always told me that your heart is weak. If you have a kid, it's a possibility that you were the kid to die. I was like, yep, no kids.
like I'm cool.
No food. People ask me now, I just be like, "I'm allergic." Like, I can't eat.
It's me. Oh, that's too
I can't do
funny.
that. Yeah, so the fear is real. After trauma, the fear is real. Like, I struggle more with the mental stuff than I do the physical.
So, have
Like,
you
I can
ever
be in
been in
pain.
a support group for transplant
Yes,
survivors?
I'm in a support group. Not that's
You
bad.
said they're what?
AYT. And, that's not a bad thing.
Mhm.
It's and they all older, like they,
Mm.
in their 80s and 70s and 60s,
Wow.
and I don't see many in their 50s. Some of them, but yeah, most of them is older and their stories be different. Like, when they ask me what I'm doing, I'm like, "Oh, I'm going hiking later on today," or I'm going rock climbing this morning," because I rock climb on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So, I don't really have the same, and, yeah, I do a
You
lot,
can't
like,
relate to
Monday.
them.
Right.
Yeah. That
Yeah.
that's one of those things where you say, when we say representation matters, like, I'm
Yeah.
sure that
And it would be nice to see somebody.
there
Yeah.
are other
See
people your
some this.
age. Yeah, and yeah, I'm sure that there are others. So,
And it's mostly men, and I know from my research that Black women are more likely than a white man to have a heart attack. Like, why are we not talking about how important it is for us to have heart health? Like, it don't make sense.
right, right, right.
And we're less likely to have a heart transplant, and for me to only spend 5 days waiting for a heart, that's some good odds for me. So it's not even my story has been different on so many levels, you know? Like, I always feel I almost feel like one of them.
Like, I
Like,
only
"Is my
had to
name
wait
Becky?"
5 days?
Right, "Am I Becky today?" Like, I feel like this story don't vibe with most of the stories I've seen
Mhm.
and heard from our perspective.
Right. Choking over here.
It wasn't me, I'm too far.
So, being that you've known that you've had a heart condition since you were a child and you're just like, I'm going to live my best life, have you thought about going to therapy just so you can kind of get beyond this
Oh, we were
fear
talking
since
about
the
therapy.
group,
Yeah.
what is it, support
I
hasn't
was
been the most positive experience?
Yeah, I had a therapist. I had a therapist for a while.
Mhm.
I think I need to and I would always say, "Okay, Imma call them and start my therapy sessions again." And I think being active has been my therapy, but it's not enough. I
Mhm.
need to have a actual therapist. So, I'm not even gonna make excuses about it, but I need to start therapy, definitely.
What is something that you would want women, Black women especially over their 40s, to take from your experience and hearing your story?
Move, move, move. The couch is only for sitting with guests. Like, there's no this like, get up, do something. Like, I have one of these treadmill type things where you do your feet, and I said, "You can't watch TV unless that's in front of you. You can't
Mm.
watch TV unless you got your yoga mat down here. You can't just watch TV. No. If you watching a movie, you better be doing something else." And I learned this from a girl that I used to hang out with. She was one of my, outdoor Afro
Mm.
leaders or something. She used to say, "Girl, every time the commercial come on, I know it's time for me to move.
And I was
It's
thinking
time for
about
me
the
to do something."
commercial. I was getting ready to say something
Yes,
about
but they don't really have commercials on movies and stuff. And now you can opt out if you pay an extra $2. So I tell myself, like, if it has commercials, please watch it with commercials because otherwise you'll sit here all day
Mhm.
and you won't get up. So I keep my calendar full because without a full calendar, you have all this time that you ain't doing nothing with. And I try to do my calendar religiously. Like, nope, it said I got rock climbing today. Nope, I got to do Zumba on Monday, because Zumba's on Monday. Tuesday is double Dutch. Wednesday, I give myself a break. You can kind of do whatever you want, or you can rest. I'll let you rest on Wednesday. It ain't a Sunday, but I'll let you rest. Thursday is rock climbing and other activities. I'm moving my activities around on Thursdays. And Fridays is yoga. I do yoga on Fridays. And I work the weekend because I'm on call instead of having a real job. It's my like retirement job. So a lot of days they don't even call me. So I have a lot, I put stuff on my schedule. Even if they call me, then I just don't do it. But I still keep stuff on my schedule every day, even during the week. So if they call me, that means you can't do that, but you can do something else.
And what do you think you said that you've always been like that.
Yeah, I
So
have.
what do you
This is
think
not.
what's the difference now?
What's different now? I guess the fear.
That's the
Because
only
even when
thing.
I'm doing it, yeah, because I used to rock climb all the time. And now I stay where the kids go,
Really?
the beginners. I stay on the beginner side.
Okay.
I do. I do. And they was like, we got other boulders and this. I said, no, just keep me right here. So yeah. So I need therapy to get rid of this fear so that I can unleash who I truly am and who I'm capable
But I love that you understand the importance of movement and that you make it a habit. And when you said, I'll let you rest, one of the things that I've been talking about is your body needing leadership. So you were just like, you have become the leader of your body and saying, okay, this day you're going to do this day you get to rest. Instead of
Yes.
it's like you're really taking that leadership role in your life. Being that you also at the beginning you talked about like how you could change your body based on what you put in your mouth and you were a dietitian. How has that changed and what is it that you would express to people as far as what they eat after 40? Because you don't have to have a heart transplant.
Yeah.
After 40,
Yeah.
your body's going to change, and some things that you used to be able to eat and get away with, one of my other guests was talking about how, back in the day, I'd be like, oh, I need to lose 10 pounds. Okay, I'll do this. 2 weeks, I'm good. But now it's like, not so much. So what has been the difference with that as far as food is concerned with you?
Before I ate extremely healthy, because I would be like, you young, but your mama got diabetes, your daddy got diabetes, like you got to do something. And then I met a chef at one of my jobs, and he was like, black people should be vegans if you really think about it. And he gave me all this information about that, and so I was like, oh, bet I'm a vegan now. So I went home, told my mama I'm vegan. So she started making all these different meals and stuff, and then one day she woke up and she was like, I'm tired of cooking all these different meals for y'all. And so I tried to figure out a way to be vegan independently,
Mm.
And so I went to a lot of ethnic restaurants because Ethiopian was my favorite food because they give you vegan meals and it's healthy and it's, whatever. So that's what I did. And when I had all this heart trouble, my doctor was like, you shouldn't really be here. Like, this don't make sense. Your body is actually circumventing some of the arteries and starting to have its own, and that's usually without getting too technical, if you're really heavy, your body will create other pathways so that it could oxygenate the fat too without being too. So basically, my heart was doing that because I was getting blockages and it needed to oxygenate. So it start to make more veins and arteries, capillaries, and things of that sort. So I knew that diet was one of the reasons, like the healthy living, the exercise. I knew there's no doubt in my mind that helped.
Mm.
But my brain was like, my doctor is like, no, you need more protein. Vegans like you not getting enough protein for your heart to heal and all the scars to heal. And then my family and everybody was like, you need to start eating meat, and that's what's gonna help you. And so they started giving me lamb and all this other stuff. And I was so underweight. I was like 90 something pounds. I was so underweight. And so I just started eating whatever. And then I would tell myself I'll be eating it. And I'd be like, it didn't really save your life not eating this. Like it didn't. So you tell yourself like, well, let me just eat whatever. And so I start eating whatever. And even to this day, I don't eat as healthy as I used to.
Wow.
I figure I got a new heart that helps. So I stay active. I don't go overboard with the bad foods, but I will eat kind of whatever sometimes. And I'm no longer a vegan.
Wow.
I tried to be vegan, but I live with somebody who's not, and it's more difficult when other people are in the home with you. I'm not saying it's impossible. It's more difficult, especially when he's the one that does all the cooking.
Mm.
I just feel like I got enough battles. Just eat what he made.
Wow.
It's not horrible. You know, he's very health conscious, but it's not vegan. I just came to grips with dealing with what I can And right now, I'm dealing with so much stuff that I am just going to do my best and continue to do my best.
So, what are some signs or symptoms that women should never ignore about their health?
One of the main things that's different from what most people talk about is, yeah, you can have the pain, the chest pain, but most women have nausea. So
Mm,
they have like an upset stomach. They think that maybe they ate something bad or congestion, heartburn. All of those are GI symptoms that usually precede a heart attack. And we have to remember that because it's not always, if you think about the research that they did for heart attacks, it's usually men between 50 and 60, I think it is, 50 and 70. But most of them, the symptoms are that pain in that um, the back
mhm,
and the stomach, irritation. I'll just call it irritation because everybody process it differently in their stomach.
mm,
And in the pain. The pain radiates usually the neck and the arms
mm,
and in the chest. So it's not just that pain in the chest. Sometimes it's in your neck and in your
mm.
shoulders and in your back.
Wow.
So don't think it's just going to be chest pain because sometimes the pain is referred pain or radiated pain.
Mm,
Um, your body does give you signs beforehand. Be careful about swelling in your feet. Make sure your socks aren't too tight and make sure you always know what your legs look like as far as edema. That's what they call it, edema. You need to learn the language that they use. So swelling is edema and your weight should never fluctuate quickly. Like you should know what your average weight is because a lot of times, like I did, I was carrying weight in my body and it wasn't that many signs because I was already thin. So I was like, I'm coughing, but I don't feel like my legs didn't swell up. That's because it was all inside. It was all in my lungs. So
mm.
coughing means the fluid is building up. Okay. What else? Those are signs and symptoms that I usually tell, especially Black women, to be more concerned about those symptoms.
I want to move into our segment on passing no, before that, asking you, when do you feel like you're in your elevated flow state? You know, the flow state is when you're working hard, you're in your zone, and even though you're working hard and putting forth all these skills and everything that you have, but it feels effortless. You've heard of that before, like being in the flow, being
My
in the
job.
zone.
I think my job is that way.
Really?
Like, even though now I'm just a on-call nurse, when I was a travel nurse, I got my heart in August. I start working in December.
Mm. Wait,
And
weren't you in the hospital till February?
I got out in September.
I thought you
I got
okay.
my heart in August. I got out in September and I start working in December
What?
as a travel nurse. My doctors was like, "No, this is not gonna work for me." I was like, "Yeah, well, unless you gonna pay these bills, it's gonna work." And I fought them to get released because they wouldn't release me
Mm.
to work. I said, "Either y'all release me to work or y'all ain't getting another dime because I don't have insurance if I don't go to work.
Right, right,
So
right.
how y'all gonna get paid?" So and I needed to work. Like I could not be at home all day. Like this was bad. I did not want that. And yeah, I went to work. My brother was like, "I done moved to Dallas and now you ain't even in Dallas no more." I was like, "I'm sorry, but I have to move. I got to keep moving." Like, and so I literally, that is where when I elevate is when I stay busy. And job is what I do. And especially my job, being a hospice nurse, you not want to go to work, you know? Because I did quit. When I turned 50, I quit. I quit my travel job. And I said, I'm just going to stay at home for a little while. That didn't last long. That didn't last long at all. And so that's when I went and got a job.
So what is the most fulfilling part about being a hospice nurse?
Being with the people and letting them know that you going to be just fine.
Mm,
Because I used to always, before when I was a hospice nurse, I always would tell people, this is your journey. Don't let anybody take away from your journey. Do what you want. That's bullshit. I mean, that's bull. When you are dying, the journey ends when you die, but the journey continues with your people, the ones who loved you. So you do have to have consideration of what they want while you're dying.
mm.
It's very important. Because at first I was like, "No, this is my," because when I thought I was dying, I was like, "This is my journey. I do," and I was like, "No, that's how you gonna grieve. But once that's over, they're gonna be doing the grieving, not you." So when my older sister was acting like she acts when bad stuff happened, I was like, and I told my other siblings, I was like, "She has to do her grieving her way. Like we can't expect her to be doing our, everybody got to grieve their way."
Mhm.
Everybody. So let them do it. If they know that they're gonna lose you, let them do what they have to do. Because once you gone, they gotta deal with your absence, and you don't have to deal with nothing. So as a hospice nurse, I am now more adept to help people get through this journey with their loved one.
Wow,
Because before I was like, "No, this is your journey." No, it's their journey. This is all of our journey.
that's
It's
powerful.
it's just not yours. So I learned that a lot.
Mm,
And now when I go to work, it's a whole new perspective of when I'm telling them, I made it, but now I know I really made
mhm,
so I can tell them that it's different when you the one laying on in the bed, because your work is mental, their work is physical.
mm.
They the ones getting you stuff, helping you, live life again. They doing a lot of work while you leaving this world.
Wow. Now that you say that, it makes me think about my aunt. She took care of her mother and her sister prior to them passing. And one of the things that I talked to her about was really starting the journey of who she is going to be without being that caretaker. Because this will be the first time in over
That's
20
one thing I teach.
years that she wasn't taking care of anyone, and that's what
Yeah,
she moved to Texas for, to take care of her mother, and then she ended up taking care of her sister, and when her sister was passing, that's one of the things that I talked to her about, like, you gotta figure out what your life is gonna be like now, because that's what you've been identified as for so long, so you gotta really start, you know, like you said, the grieving process even before they leave.
yes. And I always tell them, have a plan and have something that you do once a week just for you, because you have to start doing that breakaway. So I don't care if it's going to get your hair done, get your nails done, just go to the park and sit.
Mhm.
And that's the great thing about Girl Trick is because they have a caregiver, what is seminars
Mhm.
to help with caregivers. It's just
Mm.
go outside for 30 minutes. And that's one of the main things I do now is along with my job as a hospice nurse, I get people who are caregivers to go outside for 30 minutes. Just go outside.
That's
That's
good.
all you have to do. You don't have to do nothing else. You don't have to walk. You don't have to do anything. Just go outside. Because I also noticed that when I'm feeling down or whatever, I start putting my shoes on because that's going to help me.
Yeah, yeah. I love that.
And I tell people that sometimes you don't always have, like, if you're the sick one or the one who's taking care of someone, you can't always have the words. So I tell them, what's your number? Meaning from 0 to 10, what's your number? Like if you're anything less than a 5 and 10 is like we won a lottery and 1 is like I'm ready to take myself out. So that's the scale. And so if you're anywhere near a 5, you got to find 5 things to do that make your number go up.
Mm,
Music is mine. I turn on some music. I go outside. I get on the phone and talk to somebody. I'll do a puzzle. I love puzzles.
mm.
I'm always done with my Prince puzzle now, and I'm crying. I don't wanna finish it because once I finish it, I don't have it no more. And the 5th one is I'll eat something good.
Mm,
I just you know what? Imma go and my treat is never in the home. Something good is never in my
that's
house.
good.
I gotta go outside, and I gotta go get it.
I love that. I love that. 5 things to make you feel better, to raise your number.
Number is 5 and under. You have 5 things you need to do to get that number up.
That's a lesson right there. What do they do like this? If you're listening, if your number is under
Gotta do
5,
something.
that's a
5 and under,
5 and
because you
under.
don't wanna get at
5 and
5 and
under,
just
5 and
leave it.
under, 5 and under.
Yeah, don't leave it at 5. It's not good enough. We only got 1 life that we know of.
Yeah.
Don't stay in a 5.
I like this. I know someone said, I think my last guest said, you only live once. People say, oh, you only live once. And she was like, no, you live every day. You only
I
die once. I'm like,
that one. Yes, that's one of mine. I love that one. I love it.
That's good.
That's what they say. I die for you. Don't die for me. Live for me.
Right.
Live for me. Yeah. I'd rather you did that than die for me because we're both going to be screwed up. You're going to be in jail and I'll be dead. What's the point?
Right.
Live for me.
That is, man, that's the word. Okay. So being that you have these, when your number is 5 and under, you do 5 things. Do you have a regular self-care routine?
I do. Do I do it? No. But in my defense, I'm about to have a quarterly report. So 4 4 times out of the year, I do a quarterly report for myself.
Okay.
So I ask myself, are you exercising? Are you eating right? Are you, all these things I have to ask myself. And then I fast for 3 days.
Mm,
And I do cleanse, an emotional and mental cleanse. And I have one coming up on the 19th.
okay.
For 3 days, I have to take care of myself every quarter.
So how do you
And
think you've
usually
done
it's
this
with
last quarter?
I did horrible. Horrible.
Really?
Horrible. Yes. Because this quarter, I quit my job.
Okay.
I turned 50 and it was something else. And I'm no longer traveling, so I'm living with somebody 24/7. Not that that's a bad thing. It's really good. But
Why you say
He's-
living? Didn't you say husband before?
I call him my husband only because we've been together 13 years, and that sounds really bad because he hates when I call him my boyfriend.
Oh, okay.
He hates it. I said, but that's what you
Right.
are.
Marry me.
But hey, no, say that.
Okay.
It's good. It's good right here.
Okay.
It's good.
Boyfriend or partner. That's what I used to call
Marriage.
my ex partner.
I know, but then they be thinking it's a girl. I cut my
Oh,
hair off.
yeah.
Oh, I lost my hair. Yeah, I
People
used to
have
have
told
these
me that too.
beautiful,
Like, don't say partner. That sounds like,
beautiful.
well, that's your problem. I'm comfortable with
I
saying it.
had beautiful long locks, and I had to cut them off.
Why'd you do
This
that?
medicine, girl, I got to take medicine every day. My hair was just falling out and falling out. And then my nephew came to visit, and he went bald a couple of years ago, and so he just cut it all off. He's like, "Why am I trying to hold on to something that don't want me?" And I was like, so as soon as he left, I shaved my head.
Wow.
I'm done with all these locks. And it was freeing because those locks was a lot of, they were always in the way. I would wake up, they around my neck. Like it was, it was a lot.
It said no bonnet for you. You like freedom.
I would put on a bonnet, but I wake up and it do whatever it want. And it was so heavy that when I would wash it, I had to just lay flat because you couldn't lift your head up because it's so long. I was like,
Wow.
this is ridiculous. What are you holding on to? So all of this happened since my last, and I didn't really do a quarterly report last time. So I didn't do a true one because I was in between quitting and all this stuff.
Okay.
And then my birthday, I was planning my birthday party. So I couldn't really do it. Yeah, that's my self-care, my quarterly report.
Okay.
If I do one.
All right. Well, you know what? I truly have enjoyed this conversation like I knew I would. So we're going to move on to our closing segment, which is passing the torch. Passing the torch. So we talked a lot about your health, your fitness journey, your wellness journey, and your career, and just lifestyle, your lifestyle. So if you had to talk to, I'm going to ask you a different question because I probably know what your teenage self, you said you was kind of buck wild and doing your own thing. If you had to talk to a younger generation right now and talk to them about how important eating healthy, moving on a regular basis, how important that is for longevity. Because, when we're young, we think we're going to live forever. We think we're invincible. So to a teenage girl that's listening, what would you tell her about the importance of fitness and wellness for longevity?
I would tell her that the most important thing is to be happy while you're doing it. So if you don't like doing certain things, find something that makes you happy to do it. If you don't like this food, find some healthy food that you really enjoy and make that your whatever, Find the stuff that you enjoy
Right.
so that you can do it for the rest of your life.
Right.
Because if you enjoy it when you're young, you'll continue. But if you say, "Oh, I gotta eat this,"
Right.
no, God made some food in there that you like.
Right.
Like I'm sure He did, and I'm sure some activities that you would enjoy. So stop saying, "Oh, I don't like doing that. I don't like." Stop saying that. Stop saying what you will like,
Right.
and enjoy that, and take it to the next level. So enjoy the stuff that you know is going to be good long term, and start enjoying it now.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Stay active even when you're young. Yeah.
Even when you don't want to, just do it.
And if your friends don't like it, I'm sure if you
Find
do it,
somebody
you're
who
going to find
will.
somebody that you can do it with. Yes, yes.
And that's the great thing about having friends. You can have thousands of
Right.
them. Just make sure they're the ones who do the stuff that you like to do
Right.
for that
Right.
friends.
Absolutely.
The ones you were born with sometimes they don't do nothing. They doing worse.
So, next question. What would you say to an older woman that hasn't been active? You already said move, 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 but they feel like, oh, okay, well, I've never lifted weights and I'm healthy and I've never exercised and I'm doing just fine. What would you say to that older woman that's like, okay, that running thing or that walking thing, I'm good. It's for the young folks.
Well, if you're perfect, then you must be Jesus or somebody because you're not perfect. Like, do a little bit of something. Like, even if you think, oh, yeah, I've been doing good, all this, but what about your retirement?
Mm,
And when I talk about your retirement, I'm not talking about I'm talking about when you need to go to a nursing home. Who's going to take care of you? Stop worrying about other people taking care of you. Take care of yourself.
right, right,
Make
right.
sure that you can get up off the floor. I tell people all the time, fall on the floor right now. See if your ass can get up. If you could do that on a regular basis, you on your way. So do simple stuff. Be able to, if you fall, be able to get up on your own
Mm-hmm.
without using your hands. Because now you done broke both arms. Now what? You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So stop acting like you're going to be like this forever. Oh, 50, 60, 70, 80, you still get more to do. And if you don't, then you might as well go now because you done done everything right. No, even at 80, you should be planning for 90.
Right, right, right.
Huh.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you for that word. That word for our
Welcome.
younger
I feel
generation.
like I'm preaching. I feel like I was on a pulpit.
Preacher. All right, Miss Tina. Well, thank you again so much for your time. I appreciate you. And I have a few extra questions for our Patreon community. So stick around. And if you want to hear some other inside scoop of Miss Tina Riley's life, go ahead and subscribe below in the Patreon community. I call it the afterflow. You know how in church they talk about the overflow, the
Oh.
overflow. I call it the afterflow. So meet us over in the
Nice.
afterflow. Until next time, this is Coach Flo signing off. Remember to find your zone and elevate your flow. Peace.